Do you know what will happen if you tell the truth? Have you ever had someone ask you that in real life? Did they do it out loud in public? Or was it done in a secretive, almost whispered way? That question, asked in that way, seems to imply guilt, as if in and of itself the truth would be some sort of an indictment. That telling the truth about yourself, your situation, your opinion, whatever it might be, would result in some sort of devastating negative impact for you, or maybe for them, or maybe for someone else that you know. I guess that you're familiar with the social game Truth or Consequences, Truth or Dare, or perhaps you've visited the town by that name in New Mexico, Truth or Consequences. I haven't yet, but if you have, please throw it up in the comments, give us a shout, let me know what it's like. It's on my list. So you haven't heard me say this for a minute, but here's the deal. It's not an or statement. Hat tip to my software friends out there. I'd have you consider that telling the truth always has consequences. And I'd submit to you that that is an objective fact. It's truth and consequences all the time. There's a lot of discussion these days about facts and truth. And based on the sheer number of facts in disagreement and opposing truths that are floating about, I'm not going to go into external factors. And likewise, there's little to be gained in debating the concept of universal truths. Anybody wants to do that, please feel free to hit me up in the comments. We can see how you'd want to frame that discussion. I guess perhaps we can best understand the truth most clearly when we set it in opposition to a lie. We've talked about lies of commission, where we're overtly misled by another person, someone who tells us something that's blatantly false, and those are bad enough. We've also touched on lies of omission, where one simply leaves things out conveniently and allows others to fill in the blanks and paint the picture themselves. Is that where an apparent truth is created? In the vacuum of evidence or fact, and in the mind of the person who's creating that picture? Well, I think there's a reality here that shouldn't be overlooked. You and I aren't obligated to put forth every fact in our lives to one another. And even if it were possible to do so, it's not practical. I mean, people already say, it's enough about us already, isn't it? We do have an obligation to answer questions of those who seek to know us and understand us. But even that standard can be difficult to achieve with anything near the level of perfection that most people demand. So what then are we to do? Well, maybe we can recall the words of the German poet Paul Gerhardt, and paraphrased, I dare say immortalized by the song "To Live Is to Die" from the "Injustice for All" album from Metallica, vis-a-vis Cliff Burton, prior to his untimely death. The phrase is, "When a man lies, he murders some part of the world. These are the pale deaths which men miscall their lives." That part was Paul. Cliff added a couple of things onto it, but I'm not going there. You can look that up for yourself if you're interested. And yet, there are still those who would challenge us to hide the truth. Those who would see the truth as a threat or that indictment that we spoke of. I went through an exercise in the early part of this year to identify the 7 biggest lies that I've told myself. One of those that I'll share with you was that I can carry my lies and my secrets forever. It's okay. I'm fine. As if I'd achieved some level of perfection and didn't need to continue to grow and change and evolve. Right? So, what is your truth, friend? I mean, we're all apparently entitled to our own truth these days. So, great. What are your consequences? Are they in fact indictments? Or is that just what others would have you believe? Would you living in your truth expose their lies? What's the source of that fear? We can empathize, I suppose, but I'd have you consider that the truth needs no apology. It may need to administer a bit of first aid, and it may cause some short term pain. But I think Paul was right. We do murder a part of this world when we lie, a part of ourselves. Wouldn't it be better to live whole with nothing to hide? I mean, I'm imperfect as the next guy, but that's my goal every day, is to live with as much integrity and authenticity as I can. I'll leave you with this. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you murder that little part of yourself if you didn't have to? I'm listening. You've got my take, friend. What say you?